Right now, someone weaker than you is winning, not because they are smarter, not because they are more talented. They are winning because they look more certain. They speak without looking for an exit. They move as if the world already belongs to them, and because they believe it, the world obeys. While you are paralyzed by overthinking, they are seizing what should have been yours. Confidence isn't a personality trait, Gene. It's a weapon of war. And in this world, if you aren't the one carrying the blade, you are the one standing in its path. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. Power doesn't belong to the best. It belongs to the most absolute. This is not a video for motivation. This is a turning point for control. Today, your weakness stops being a burden and starts being a choice. We are going to erase your hesitation and replace it with a presence that demands obedience. Chapter 1. Killing the Inner Servant. You weren't born hesitant. You were trained to be. Since birth, you've been rewarded for being nice and for asking, "Is this okay?" and for seeking approval like a loyal dog waiting for a scrap of bread. What lives inside you right now isn't a leader. It's a servant. A programmed identity that flinches at judgment and apologizes for taking up oxygen. That voice in your head that tells you to wait, that's not you. That's the voice of the servant. And if you don't slaughter him today, you will spend the rest of your life watching inferior men rule over you. Machiavelli didn't ask for permission. He acted and let the world catch up. He knew that those who ask for power don't deserve it. Your transformation starts with a total inversion of your behavior. From this second forward, every time you want to shrink, expand. Every time you want to explain, pause. Every time you want to apologize, stare. Dangerous confidence is forged in defiance, not against the world, but against the version of you that still wants to serve. Phase 2. The Architecture of Silence and Spatial Dominance. Chapter 2. Owning the Atmosphere. Powerful men don't arrive loudly. They arrive with gravity. Most people enter a room and immediately look for a place to fit in. They glance around for approval. They nod at people they don't even know. They try to look busy so they don't seem awkward. That is the smell of a victim. A Machiavellian moves differently. You don't look for permission to exist in a space. You observe. You absorb. You let the others rush to prove themselves while you calculate. Your posture is your first line of attack. You move slowly, not because you're uncertain, but because you are in no hurry. Predators don't sprint unless it's time to strike. Until then, they are calm, ready, and terrifyingly still. The power of the stare. Most people move too fast because they are trying to impress someone. They talk fast because they are afraid of being interrupted. They interrupt others because they are desperate to be heard. But when you walk in like you own the room, you don't speak to impress. You speak to decide. When others speak, you wait. You let them finish. You let them reveal their hunger, their insecurities, and their need to be liked. The one who talks first usually gives away what they fear most. And once you know a man's fear, you can bend him to your will without raising your voice. Chapter 3. The Strategic Void. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of control. You think talking makes you dominant? It makes you predictable. The quiet man in the corner is the threat because no one knows where his limits are. Machiavelli understood this in the royal courts. The ones who truly ruled weren't always the kings wearing the heavy crowns. Often it was the man who barely spoke, but when he did, the entire court leaned in. You don't chase energy. You create a vacuum that forces others to move toward you. Confidence at this level is about making everyone else in the room question their own position just by standing near you. If they respect you, good. If they don't, better. Because indifference to their opinion is the final, most dangerous form of power. Chapter 4. Words as Weapons. Words are not just sounds. They are weapons. And most men use them like they're begging for a ceasefire. You can spot a weak man the moment he opens his mouth. The rising tone at the end of a sentence that makes a statement sound like a question. The nervous uhs, the I think, the maybe. These aren't just speech patterns. They are escape hatches. They are signals to the world that you aren't even sure if you deserve to be heard. Machiavelli knew the truth. Power isn't always in what you say, but in the weight of the certainty behind it. People are not logical. They are emotional. They don't follow the truth, they follow conviction. If you sound sure, they assume you are right. If you hesitate, they assume you are a fraud. The Machiavellian voice. What does a ruler sound like? It's slow, it's grounded, it's final. You must speak as if your words are not open for debate, as if every sentence is a decree. It doesn't matter if the room is full of experts. If you sound like a decision, they will defer to you. Here's the rule you must memorize. Sound like the end, not the beginning. Eliminating the softness. From this moment on, eliminate the filler. No more. I'm just saying. No more. Does that make sense? No more. I could be wrong. Those are the words of a man who is afraid of judgment. Burn them. Say what you mean, and then leave it there. Let others deal with the silence that follows. That silence is a dare. It challenges the room to disagree. And most people are too terrified of what else you might say to take the bait. The frequency of power. Lower your pitch, slow your tempo, remove the nervous energy. Sound like a man who has nothing to prove because he has already decided how things will be. You don't win a conversation by being the loudest. You win it by speaking in a way that makes people feel your words aren't suggestions, they are facts. This is how generals speak before a charge. This is how kings speak before they reclaim a throne. If someone challenges you, never defend yourself. Defense is for the weak. Just say, I disagree. Or even better, that is incorrect. And then, say nothing. When you refuse to debate, you signal something terrifying, that your reality is not up for negotiation. That is how you control a room without ever raising your voice. Confidence isn't volume, Jean. It's gravity. Chapter 5. The Emotional Fortress. Confidence without emotional control is just decoration. You can walk tall, speak with a deep voice, and move with authority. But if someone can still trigger you with a single sentence, you are not powerful. You are a puppet. This is where most men fail. They master the mask, but their emotions still belong to the crowd. A whisper of disrespect, and they react. A silence, and they spiral. You are not free until you master the invisible war inside your own mind. Machiavelli understood this in the cold courts of Italy. He didn't fear enemies, he feared dependency. He knew that once people know what moves you, they know where to press. And once they know where to press, you are no longer dangerous. You are manageable. Reprogramming the code. Stop being the man who reacts. Become the man who calculates. When someone insults you, do not explain. Observe. Extract data. What are they hiding behind that insult? When someone praises you, do not melt. Analyze. What do they want from you? Your mind is not a public space. It is a fortress, and you are the only one with the keys. Most men are so easy to control, it's laughable. Tell them they aren't good enough, and they'll over-explain. Pull away from them, and they'll beg to reconnect. This is not power. This is programming. And today, we break the code. Chapter 6, Rejection as Intel. Rejection feels like a wound to the weak. To the sovereign, it is a gift. It is a signal from the world saying, you were too available, you were too obvious, you were too desperate. Good. Now you know what needs to be destroyed. Understand this. Rejection is not personal. It's positional. People reject what they believe they can survive without. If they said no to you, they believe they lost nothing. That isn't an insult, it's intel. Now you know exactly where you stand. The strategic vanish. Never appear affected. The moment you show pain, they win. Instead, withdraw your presence like a weapon. What happens when something people took for granted suddenly vanishes? They begin to feel its weight. They begin to feel the void. Vanish. No explanations, no emotional farewells, just a strategic absence. Machiavelli said, men should be either treated generously or destroyed. Don't just hurt them, make them irrelevant. Build in the shadows, refine your edge, Sharpen your image. Amplify your value so loudly that the people who once ignored you now have to explain themselves just to speak your name. By the time they realize what they lost, you have already evolved beyond their reach. Conclusion, the final command. You weren't rejected. You were redirected toward a version of yourself that doesn't ask twice. You've killed the servant. You've mastered the silence. You've weaponized the rejection. You no longer enter rooms to be accepted. You enter to set the standard. They will feel the shift in your walk, the coldness in your stare, the finality in your tone. Legends don't beg. They exist, and the world reshapes around them. Like this video if you are done chasing. Subscribe if you are ready to become the weapon. Because this isn't self-help, this is war. And you just won the first battle.